Evangeline Morgan. Oh, wait. Sorry, I wanted to make sure we didn't lose sight of the important stuff between episodes here.
That's a great name, though.
Why is Reyes here? So, pretty quiet elevators, huh?
You could have taken the next one.
It's a busy building, Detective. Can't hold up everyone else on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start?
Don't touch anything. I don't care that you're wearing gloves.
I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there in many cases.
Look, Rockford asked me to not get in your way, but that doesn't mean I'm going to bend over for you.
Yeah, because remember, also the way Morgan has positioned herself is that she's going very far out of her way here. She's going way out on a limb, and for something that appears for everyone else to be just justification for a sentimental thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And trying to make a meal out of what is a formality.
Mm-hmm.
So even the people who they're kind of annoyed at her at best, right?
Yep.
Do you at least have the autopsy report?
No.
Are you seriously?
I don't.
She doesn't. The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still. Then I would settle for summary of the preliminary findings.
An emergency call was made shortly after 8 p.m. last night via the home's security system. Emergency medical services had a VTOL in the air within the minute. They landed on the penthouse's helipad at 8:08. Dr. Ashur was found unconscious with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. In-flight auto triage administered artificial CPR while in transit to Gates Field Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing.
So that explains a little bit. There was this period where he was still, there but not breathing.
Yep.
Right. And remember the timeline. We had folks called in before emergency services. I see. And the cause of death is?
Being investigated.
Make an educated guess.
He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, so they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0, and there wasn't anything else they could do.
Oh. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? Oh. They don't know either.
Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet.
Why are you certain it was poison, Adonai? Couldn't it have been an accidental overdose?
If he had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med student would have spotted it on the hospital's intake screening. They would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize his bloodstream, and he would have lived.
But he did not live.
So it must have been something deadly. A compound designed solely to kill. Fast-acting, deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. The list can't be that long. Even just through a process of elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now, unless you suspect a designer drug, don't you, Detective?
Why is it you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense given what we know, and what we don't.
But the CDCA decriminalized and cataloged all recreational drugs.
Okay, well, I guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. Tell me about this. Oh, I forgot about our Morgan.
Yeah.
Yay. Wait, no, we don't need Meg. We need CDCA. Here we go.
The Contraband Decriminalization Act's a series of laws passed in the 2060s that decriminalized all narcotics use and established the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight to administrate the production, licensing, distribution, and taxation of drugs across the country. Overwhelmed by civil unrest and eager to replenish government coffers, the CDCA were intended to reduce the backlog of criminal cases across the country and provide much-needed tax income, while also incentivizing immigration with the promise of amnesty. In what was considered a domino effect, other major...
Wait, so now we know this can't be the U.S.
What?
Incentivizing immigration? Da-dum.
No, I think it's the U.S. after a certain arc plays out when we realize what.
I see. So this is part of the. I see. This is part of the making up for that. Okay. I see now. We're on the upswing. Okay. I understand. I'll take it.
In what was considered a domino effect, other major nations around the globe passed comparable laws to build up their own depleted war chests and revitalize their local economies. The so-called white wave of global amnesty overturned the international drug trafficking market in just a few short years.
Okay, hold on. There's one other detail hidden in there. Other major nations around the globe build up their own depleted war chests, needed replenishing government coffers. What the fuck happened in the 2050s? What the fuck happened in the 2050s? What war happened?
To be fair, you don't even need a war to spend a lot of money.
True, but
you could spend a lot of money really fast, as we're quickly learning.
Oh yeah,
on nothing.
Yeah. On basically, but this makes it seem like there was some specific event that happened that caused countries to kind of strain to the breaking point.
Maybe
I'm just reading in between the lines too much.
Climate change.
I think Morgan already mentioned that they've continued to kick that can down. Right?
Yep, but kicking the can costs money.
True.
The Grey Wave followed soon after, as money-starved criminal organizations waged economic and literal war against multinational corporations for dominance of this new grey market. Fierce competition for government licenses to produce classic narcotics emerged alongside a race to develop new, more powerful designer drugs, and to monopolize on their sale in the months it would take the government to identify and legalize them. While rates of addiction and overdose deaths have dropped since their peaks in the last 2 decades, the dangers associated with untested designer drugs and drug distributors' eagerness to earn new customers has continued to fuel debate over the legacy of the CDCA and the white wave as a whole.
Interesting.
Did you know someone invented one that immediately gives you Alzheimer's? Or not Alzheimer's, Parkinson's?
What? Why would you want to take a drug that just gives you Parkinson's?
An accident. They were trying to synthesize a different one based on chemical structure that they thought would be a really good thing. And instead it gave them Parkinson's immediately.
Immediately?
Yeah, not like a repeated thing over like long use in a lifetime.
Just immediately induces Parkinson's.
Yeah, just like immediately binds to and is toxic to dopamine receptors in a particular region, and
Oops, all Parkinson's. Jesus Christ, that's awful.
Anyway, be careful about chemistry and things you ingest.
Let me know when they finally invent the powder that makes you say yes.
So whatever Father overdosed on should have been in a hospital's database.
You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs.
All right. So what does designer mean then?
A custom-made drug, typically recreational and psychoactive. In the literal sense, designer merely denotes any drug that is custom-made as opposed to mass-produced, typically outside of normal pharmaceutical industry standards.
Okay.
In common parlance, however, designer drugs, DDs, deeds, deads, are illicit narcotics formulated to produce a recreational high. While the CDCA and the white wave that followed it legalized and taxed virtually all known narcotics, it did so alongside extensive documentation and study, and those laws could only apply to drugs that already existed. Any drug patented after the white wave must go through approval processes and registration with national and international authorities, a time-consuming process that can take anywhere from 6 months to several years. This time lag creates a window of opportunity wherein organized criminal groups can step in to meet the demand for a narcotic. What has become known as riding the wave is the new normal for the international drug trade, pitting mob chemists against corporate laboratories in a race to develop newer, more powerful, and more easily habit-forming drugs, and cornering the market on them before legislation catches up to them. Users also frequently searched for, is Nerve legal yet? Best New Deads 2086. Nirvana designed by who?
Nirvana, huh? I wonder if we're gonna get interesting. Okay, so there's a drug going around called Nerve. Not beating the Evangelion allegations.
What is the difference?
Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies after years of testing and mountains of paperwork. While the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can't know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of a drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was a uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, gray market peddlers, and white-collar lobbyists all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDCA didn't change shit. More people die from ODs than ever before. Only difference is, it's their families finding them in the living room, and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Real comforting, I'm sure.
Well, if it wasn't you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement.
Not law enforcement, just a law.
Mm-hmm. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated.
For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself, if you insist.
I'm gonna take a look around now.
Yeah, sure. Make yourself at home.
What's that face for?
I thought that there would be an outline
An outline?
around where they found Father,
Like in the movies.
like in film.
Connect to the police's network and bring up their ARCS file.
Augmented reality crime scene. Oh, I see. Oh, the outline! There is an outline! And so this is where
He died at the hospital. This is just where the medics found him.
And it's the sensors and cameras they were wearing that create the basics for this ARCS.
Uh-huh. They didn't realize they were walking into a crime scene, but their body cams gathered data all the same.
Where do we start?
You can start by following behind me and trying to be as quiet as possible. I'm starting to get a feel for when she's pouting, even without looking. Oh shit. Well, it just went to it immediately, okay.
Went to what?
Just whatever the first thing was.
Oh.
I always admired this view. The buildings gleam with reflections of holograms and sunlight, and their shadows obscure all the rundown, rotting parts of town. Maybe the view is secondary. Maybe all anyone really wants is to put as much distance between them and street level as possible.
Recommendation, if the pointer doesn't live in the middle of the screen, then we won't click on it immediately.
Okay.
Is it possible that a witness could have seen something through these windows?
Not through these windows, no. David installed wide spectrum auto tint in all his homes, all his cars.
I didn't know that.
Well, you wouldn't notice unless you were viewing the penthouse from more than...
Why did he care so much about his windows?
It's a great question also about his penthouse. Like, who is... If you're on the top of the building, unless there's another building next to you, you'd think you'd notice other people trying to look in by, process of, hey, there's a helicopter. Anyway. Alright, so we got something on the... Got the outline of the body. Something on... over there. Not a whole lot this go around. Oh, and something on the table.
Table.
Table! Better take a closer look. Okay, so we got a couple things on the table here. Read, inspect, check. Got it. Well, let's see what he was reading.
Yeah.
Password locked, but already cracked by the police, it seems.
All the docs were take-home safe and nothing spicy.
When was it last used?
7:48 p.m.
Okay, so at 7:48 p.m. at least, he had enough presence of mind to be reading a document. Okay, that narrows down the window, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Still reading work emails only a few minutes before he committed suicide. That seems pretty morbid. Wow, yeah, actually, when you put it that way. There's a lot of messages marked priority that breadcrumb their way back to an article. Oh, this one! We heard about this story.
Yeah. In a stunning and heroic episode, one of our nation's brave soldiers had their life saved by a noble android, and in a way that no other competitor's product could. A brave private, name withheld, was wounded during a military operation whose exact nature and location is currently classified. Bleeding badly and far from the nearest triage station, he was carried to safety by his fellow freedom fighter, an Animate 16 enforcer, one of the few warm androids being currently tested out by the armed forces. But the android didn't just sit there and wait for evac. It opened up its own arteries and pumped life-saving UD, universal donor, synthetic plasma into the young man's veins, stabilizing him long enough for him to reach a military hospital.
Okay, that answers the question I had a couple episodes ago about how that can just be compatible, and okay, there you go.
I have no doubt he'd be dead if there was any other android fighting alongside him, said one commanding officer who asked not to be named. I always thought Noble was only good at making ads that look good. Now I know they've got something inside them that no one else can compete with. The story brings a well-deserved shot in the arm to Noble's stock prices and market share. With this one heroic moment, Noble's warm androids have proven themselves to be worth their price tag and then some, and people in the capital are paying attention. It's certainly an interesting... where'd it go? It's certainly an interesting idea, Senator Mathing said when asked about committing to a military contract for Noble to provide the armed forces with warm models. This story's got people talking. If we just ignored our
God dang it.
If we just ignored our constituents' feelings on this matter, we'd be neglecting our duty as politicians, and I know none of my peers would ever try to put a price on the life of one of our soldiers. While additional details about the incident have remained closely guarded, the net is already ablaze with talk of, "Oh, damn, you're not logged into this device. Why don't you pop your user details down below and enable crumbs so you can get the user experience you deserve?"
No. This is that article I've been seeing going around. Okay.
So, there's one theory. He built warm androids to make them more human, sees that they're getting immediately turned into combat weapons, and kills himself over it, but he didn't want it to be a tool of war, and is like, oh shit, what have I brought into the world?
So there's that, and I wonder if that's what argument the prosecution will take.
Yep.
Right. But why would Noble have it marked as priority? Something tells me that they weren't expecting this to be a thing that they could do.
Yep.
And maybe it's not the fact that they're compatible, like the UD in their veins is compatible with human blood. Maybe it's the fact that they weren't designed to do that to themselves just to save another person. You know what I mean? Something like a moving beyond their programming type scenario. Starling said they weren't in any rush to pat each other on the back over it, even though they'd won themselves a real prize. Military contract. Easy P. What was the real prize here? That the military contract isn't set in stone at this point, right?
Yeah, but the easy PR made the stock prices go up already and so on.
That wasn't it?
That wasn't it. Okay.
I thought the military contract wasn't set in stone yet. It's just like the senator was like, oh, a lot of people are asking for it, though.
Yep.
It's a nice fat bump in PR for Noble, one of their ads saving a soldier's life. Except they weren't really struggling with popularity to begin with. Guess more good press never hurts.
And of course it doesn't. It said they got a stock price bump.
Well, I'm not blaming our reading on that one. I think we did good. Spilled alcohol. The arc shows how it looked last night before it evaporated. No foreign substances in the puddle. It's clean. So that means wherever the spill came from must be clean as well. Rose River Whiskey, 12 years old.
You recognize it?
Well, sure. He was more than partial to the brand. It's a good brand after all. Only a bit overpriced, which is the bargain of a lifetime in David's world.
It appears the police have already tested its contents. No foreign matter present, was their conclusion.
Huh.
Is it possible the police missed the poison?
No. Even if they can't identify the poison, they could detect its presence by comparing samples of the whiskey to a bottle off the store shelf.
Or by doing shots.
So we can eliminate the possibility that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned.
We'll have to find our smoking gun elsewhere. I know we got some new things. We'll look at them after we're done with this scene here. 2 cups. 2 cups. One empty, knocked over, and one mostly empty. So wait, he had guests.
Mm-hmm.
These look cheap. Did his guest bring them?
I've seen them before in the basement liquor cabinet.
He just kept red Solo cups for lying around? I knew he regifted those crystal glasses I got him.
ARCS says there's nothing foreign in the upright one, so they can't have been poisoned. Results are inconclusive on the other cup, however.
Looks bone dry. Must have been nothing but fumes left by the time this was considered a crime scene. Just not enough there for them to test.
Inconclusive could mean...
Inconclusive means inconclusive. That is all. Cheer up and read me the results of the fingerprinting.
Father's prints are on both cups as expected. There's someone else's on the upright cup, so someone else must have been with him last night.
Slow down. All that proves is that someone else touched the cup. It doesn't tell us when they did it. And since we don't know who the prints belong to...
Adonai, why don't we know who the prints belong to?
The constant Adonai is so distractingly Old Testament, which is definitely on purpose.
Yeah. Are the prints flagged as unidentified, or...?
No. There's space for a name, but the field is... black.
Oh shit, am I already that late to the action? Detective Reyes.
Yeah?
There's a second set of prints on the cups. Is there a form you'd like me to sign?
Doesn't matter how nicely you ask, sometimes people just can't answer. You should know that damn well, Madam Counselor.
I was afraid you would say that.
I don't understand, Adonai. What does this mean?
It means that whoever those prints belong to has very proactive representation.
Those prints belong to a witness, as you've guessed. You're more than welcome to their testimony. But their identity is... The department is being very considerate of the witness's privacy out of respect for their time and appreciation for their cooperation.
Got it, so they're rich. Fine, forget the name then.
That easily?
Subpoenas are always an option, but I'm short on time. What do the witness have to say for themselves, Detective?
To paraphrase, they came to see Dr. Ashur last night. The two of them talked, and they had a drink together. Then the doctor got sick, so they activated the emergency system from the panel in the kitchen. The EMTs came and took them both to the hospital. Ashur's condition got worse. All the witnesses' vitals were normal.
The witness had their vitals taken. Then there should be a record of their admission at Gatesfield.
And that's it.
I'm guessing you didn't just take all that on faith.
Penumbras set up in most of the rooms on this floor. Everything the witness told us was corroborated by the building's own surveillance system. So yes, we can guarantee that the witness never put anything into Ashur's drink.
I'm guessing that I can't have the keys to the penumbra, can I?
Not until the witness's lawyers are done reviewing it.
Lawyers? Plural. Again, rich. I don't have time to trade jabs with the law offices of Johnson, Johnson & Johnson.
Say, how about I give you their business card?
Oh, the law offices of Kochler, Gustav, Prince & Prince. I was close. No way I'll be getting any client information out of them directly.
If all you bloodsuckers want to get together and tear each other apart, text me before you start. I'd like to watch.
Yeah, I bet you would like to watch.
That's not what the line said.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, I bet you like to watch. That's better.
What? What does that even mean?
I don't know. I needed a moment to think. God damn. Morgan's great. So that was it? One chat, one peek at the cams, and you've already eliminated them as a suspect.
Look. They were searched. They didn't have any poison, any drugs, not even a stick of gum. Even if they somehow did have poison on them, the camera footage confirms they had no opportunity to use it. They drank from the same bottle as the dead man. As far as the department's concerned, they were nearly the second victim.
But they aren't dead or even ill from the sound of things. I wonder if, like, maybe there's like a reaction thing going on here. At some point earlier in the evening, David consumed something that, when combined with something otherwise anodyne in the whiskey, created a, poisonous cocktail or something. So you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand and poured for the both of them from a safe bottle?
That's what the evidence is telling us. There's nothing in the bottle or the witness's cup. But after drinking from his cup, a cup he prepared himself, he fell ill and the witness didn't. And Ashur died with a foreign substance in his body.
An unidentified foreign substance.
Suicide by poison. I get that you were close and simple explanations aren't all that satisfying, but that's life.
One last thing. You said he prepared his cup himself. Did you see that on camera?
He left the parlor to get the drinks and came back with his already poured. The witness says he got them from the basement.
The witness says that, not the cameras.
There's no cams in the lab or the basement.
Good to know.
That seems like a security hazard. Why would Noble not set things up more carefully?
It's intentional. If cams of his lab ever got hacked, outsiders could steal his IP and kick Noble's monopoly to the curb.
Right. David did complain about Noble's weird protocols for combating corporate espionage.
You could take comfort knowing that father wasn't alone when he died.
Yeah, that's worth investigating. Alright, we got a whole bunch of stuff we need to look up on. I think we're done with that. There's the chair.
Is that one over there the table, or is that something else?
That's the chair. That's something else.
Okay.
Okay, this also lets us get into here. Okay. So we got new evidence and new terms. Let's learn about subpoenas.
A court order compelling an individual's attendance for the provision of evidence. A legal order issued by the state on behalf of the prosecution or the defense that compels the addressed party to give testimony, provide information, or turn over evidence. Failure to comply with the subpoena will result in being charged with contempt of court.
Okay. Just a way for the court or people acting on behalf of the court to kind of compel the people they need to give them the stuff they need.
Yep.
All right, so let's look at the evidence. David's cup.
The plastic cup that David Ashur was drinking from before he died. Forensic analysis shows matches for his fingerprints and saliva, but toxicology tests have proven inconclusive. Too much of the whiskey was drunk and or evaporated. A plastic cup with a small amount of whiskey left in it found upright on the dining table at the scene of the crime. Saliva and fingerprints match an unknown individual. Contains no traces of foreign elements. A bottle of Rose River whiskey found on the dining table at the scene of the crime. Forensic analysis shows no foreign elements or toxins, known to be a brand favored by the deceased.
Do we know that that's the one they drank from? Because he left the place before pouring.
True.
So we don't know if he poured from the same bottle, because he came back with his already poured, right?
Whiskey found spilled on the dining room table. After evaporating for most of the night, there's little left to test. No foreign compounds have been found, but the results are deemed inconclusive. Statements made by the singular witness to David Ashur's suspected poisoning and death corroborated by video evidence. The witness arrived at 7:30 p.m. The witness spoke with David Ashur in his parlor before he left to retrieve liquor from his basement at 7:36 p.m. Upon returning at 7:38 p.m., the two of them continued speaking while they both drank. David Ashur felt lethargic and disoriented shortly after 8 p.m. David Ashur lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m. EMS were called from the emergency console in the kitchen at 8:04 p.m. David Ashur and the witness were taken to Gatesfield Memorial Hospital at 8:08 p.m.
Okay. Lethargic and disoriented. So this one, the testimony doesn't mention the detail from earlier that he came back with his drink already poured. But all right. So what do we got here? One chair knocked over, probably where David was sitting, and one chair pulled out, a party of two. He never cared much for socializing, but he enjoyed hosting. Contradictory guy. Says here that when the medics arrived, he was on the floor face up. Is that face up position? It's a weird position to be face up in, because then your arms are... I guess it's fine. It just looks more like someone face down with their arms splayed, like they're about to do push-up, right?
Does that tell you something?
Hey, if you were going to drink a glass of poison, would you be sitting or standing when you did it?
Well, Well, I find it very difficult to speculate on that, hypothetical scenario.
The seat by his body is pulled out. If he was seated when he lost consciousness, I would expect to find him slumped over on the table.
But he wasn't found slumped over.
No, he wasn't. And if he had been standing when he lost consciousness, I would think he would have fallen forward or at least collapsed less neatly.
So what can you conclude from that, Adonai?
Only that I am missing something. Yeah, that is a good point. Why is he there and not slumped over or collapsed? He did get lethargic, so maybe there was a period where he was moving but more slowly and
Laid down of his own accord?
Yep.
Or was laid down?
Yep. Maybe his friend was like, "Oh, Jesus, you're here, just lay down for a moment. You're clearly not, you can't be walking around."
Yeah.
A chessboard. And a data pad with a series of characters on it. E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4, CX, D4, NX, D4. This is...
That's interesting. That is chess notation.
So it's a game.
But is it also a message or something? It seems unlikely. But what if it is?
I think it's more like he was playing chess by mail.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that could be, yeah.
Yeah. Algebraic notation. Was he studying an old game or playing against himself?
Black has checkmate in 40 moves.
Wow! A robot that's good at chess? We ought to put you in a museum.
Huh.
But I'll take your word for it.
What do you mean? Do you not play Adonai?
No. Especially not against David.
Well, that is to be expected. Anyone who challenged Father to a battle of wits would naturally grow tired of losing.
Huh. Every game starts the same. Each player has the same pieces, the same moves, the same options. It's a true test of wit, strategy, and forethought. To me, it always seemed too
Boring?
fair. The smarter player wins every time. I love it. Morgan's like, I know that I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed here. I play dirty to win.
And that is something you take fault with.
Of course. How's a guy like me supposed to win a game like that? All right. Oh. Observe.
Yeah. Let's observe.
Police androids monitoring the scene. Could almost mistake them for the real thing, the way they stand there trying to look important. Like an indoor dog taking its first trip to the park.
Pardon?
Why are you looking at it like you've never seen an android before?
Because I haven't. In person, anyway.
David didn't let you have a mirror? Brutal.
Huh.
Just scan its GIN if you're that curious. Unless that's considered too forward or whatever. Seems like that's everything critical on this side of the room. Which leaves the kitchen. You said there's camera footage of the dining room showing David and his guest. What about in here?
Only camera in the kitchen is the one mounted on the call terminal. The console took a snap image when the witness ran in to contact emergency services.
May I see it?
Not unless you scrape the witness's face off the pic first.
Don't tempt me. Alright, so we got some more things to look at in here. The door. Okay, so we got a handful of things. Let's start over here.
Sure.
3 unwashed dishes in a single glass. Reyes, these dishes haven't been scanned for prints yet.
And?
And I just assumed you might want to do your job, that's all.
Yeah, there are prints. Most match the victim. But there's also...
Huh?
Hey, don't sneak up on me like that.
All I did was walk over to you.
You knocked over the salt, Adonai.
I was focused on the task at hand.
Didn't realize tunnel vision was a selling point on your mod.
Adonai, the salt.
As I was saying, the witness's prints are on that glass.
That glass in the sink. They were drinking from cups in the parlor. See a glass on camera?
No.
So when did they touch this glass? I don't know, it's just dishes.
You need to toss it over your shoulder.
Witness must have thought about giving the guy some water, but he would have just choked on it if they'd tried.
Huh.
What, you think this glass was the murder weapon?
It's bad luck, Adonai.
Whacked him on the back of the head so fast it went between video frames.
That's genius! You should go through the footage frame by frame to prove your theory.
Bleh.
Mature.
It's bad luck.
What have you been going on about the salt? Shouldn't a machine be above petty superstition?
It's not a superstition. It's an ancient wisdom.
Dr. Assure has finally invented a machine that can be superstitious.
Give me one logical reason to care then.
If too much salt spills onto your food, it'll make you gag.
Maybe it's on me for setting the bar too low there. Can we just do it too?
I wish.
Oh, that'd be fun. Messy workspaces, but a pristine kitchen. David was a good cook, but only for others. We got some more evidence.
A glass of water found in the sink of David Assure's kitchen bears the DNA and fingerprints of the unknown witness, no trace of any poison.
Bears the DNA and fingerprints of the unknown witness, no trace. Okay, so... Oh, okay. So the DNA has the witness's fingerprints. I misunderstood what they meant there. Okay, that's good to know.
A salt shaker that was accidentally knocked over during the investigation. The cap was loose, and so salt spilled all over the countertop next to the sink. Spilled salt is an omen of bad luck, according to some. Consuming too much salt at once will make you gag, according to Sarah.
Why was the salt shaker cap loose?
Yeah, huh?
Unless he had a guest, he'd happily eat instant ramen and protein bars all 3 meals. Or 2. Or 1. No signs of food prep to be found, not so much as a cheese board. Whoever this guest was, they must have shown up unannounced. Oh, because David would have prepared a meal.
Yep.
Okay. This is where the emergency call was made. What time did the call go out again?
8:04 p.m. Before you ask, the witness left the parlor at 8:03 p.m. Not enough time for them to alter the scene.
I wasn't going to ask that. When did the medics arrive?
8:08 p.m., remember?
Hell of a response time for a penthouse. Private EMS came by air?
Yeah, they landed on the VTOL pad you saw outside, took him to Gatesfield. The very best, if you can afford it. Looking around here, seems like he could afford a lot.
He got his insurance through his employer, just like most people.
Caduceus Executive Plan 4 isn't like most people, Counselor.
He had executive level? Not like most people at all. Oh, that's a fridge. I thought that was a door. David's fridge. Normally I wouldn't go poking in the pantry at a crime scene, but this was a poisoning. Let's see what else we got here.
David Assure's health insurance policy with Caduceus, paid for through Noble Electronics, includes private EMS services on standby. Caduceus only offers 3 levels of employer-provided plans that outrank it.
Wow.
A Penumbra security console located inside David Assure's kitchen used to contact emergency services when he fell unconscious. A private emergency service was contacted at 8:04 p.m., and medics arrived at the helipad outside via VTOL at 8:08 p.m. Said private emergency services contracted through David Assure's Caduceus Executive 4 insurance plan.
All right. Some white wines chilling in the drawer, some real cheap liquor stuffed in the icebox. Old habits. Hey Reyes, you said you left the parlor and came back with that whiskey from the basement?
Huh? That's what the cams show, yeah.
There's plenty to drink right here. And unlike the cabinet downstairs, it's actually cold. You must have wanted Rose River in particular. What's that all look for? You hungry?
I am an android. I do not get hungry. Are you being sarcastic?
Only mostly. I thought you said you required organic nourishment.
Haha, I do ingest organic substances. Thank you for noticing. But that doesn't mean that I experience hunger as you do.
So when you don't ingest organic substances for a long time, that means you...
I become tired.
What a great feature.
And when I'm done digesting, I
I don't need to know that, actually.
You sure? I'm very proud of it.
Inventing the first robot that can take a shit.
Finally.
Actually, no. I just remembered. That's not true at all. Someone totally made an artificial digestive system. I saw it on TV for something. I feel like.
Fucked up.
I gotta check that.
You check that since I've got everyone in this scene, it seems like.
You've now had the chance to survey the crime scene.
Yeah, I have.
So do you think you know what happened?
Detective, is his body still at the hospital morgue?
Yeah, he's at Gatesfield, along with a 100 noble megs who've all called dibs.
Then I'll just have to cut in line. Sarah, get me a ride to Gatesfield Memorial, please. What? You can do that, can't you?
I mean, I can.
But
I need your payment information to get started.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. On my way down.
got it.
Sync complete.
Set pickup for 10 minutes should be plenty.
Crowd down there seems to have gotten quite large. 10 minutes to reach the pickup spot may be an ambitious target, Adonai.
How bad can it be?
They totally have. They totally have made artificial digestive systems.
That's so upsetting to look at.
It doesn't look much like a real digestive system.
Which makes it more upsetting for some reason.
You know, why not make an artificial eating machine?
Why would you need a
Here's another one, the TIM-1 artificial stomach.
I am already a machine that eats in stomachs. I am
No, you're an
already a machine
organism.
that turns delicious French fries into shit.
You're an organism that does that, and now there's a machine that can.
Hey, not an organism, a finely crafted tool for turning French fries into shit. As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger, but there is something else happening out there. The energy is not panicked yet, but it's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hell's gotten them so excited?
Adonai, what does that symbol mean?
In this rabble, probably something vulgar. Which one?
That heart with the bullet hole.
That's the logo for the game, dear. I don't know. It's probably nothing.
Based on net associations, it appears to be the symbol for the Heartbreak Killer?
What? Why are they holding up signs? What?
Does everyone think the Heartbreak Killer killed David Ashore, and now the Heartbreak Killer has to prove that the Heartbreak Killer did not do that?
Yeah. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol or a following or these... whatever these people are? Why the hell would they be outside David Ashore's apartment?
She is panicked.
Oh, yeah.
They have followed the wrong threads to the right location. Well, not the right conclusion. Well, probably not. We don't know yet. It could be that there's a bait and switch and she did kill Dave, but that seems unlikely.
It seems unlikely just based on their personal...
But even
also because we know the witness that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still.
Those
nobles tried to cover up the truth.
They are?
Those Megs and I are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try to catch them when they try to go dump the scraps. Sarah.
What are you hoping to find?
Proof that Ashore was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle on... Heartbreak? Noble doesn't want the world to know that the A-16 is sentient and homicidal. You think the Heartbreak is an android? You think whoever did all that was human? Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing. Started killing random people. Don't be a lamb, it only looks random. There's a clear pattern as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Oh, okay.
And how does one see past the bullshit?
Stop engaging.
Smart kid, she gets it. She's asking the right questions.
What the hell are you talking about?
No way those victims weren't related. It's got to be deniable ops. They must all have been in DO together before getting their records bleached. Then, as soon as they've outlived their usefulness...
Oh, what are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Deniable ops.
A fictional designation for covert actions whose existence are plausibly deniable. Deniable is a fictional classification for clandestine state actions that need not be taken responsibility for, because plausible deniability and military disinformation efforts create enough confusion that every party involved, even the victims, can spin the outcome to suit their own needs. No such designation exists. Deniable ops are a common, recurring concept in online conspiracy theories, often used to wave away questions about why supposedly explosive events are never reported on through the media or addressed by world governments. It is also commonly claimed that deniable ops make ample use of private military contractors in order to further distance governments from the political ramifications of their military actions. Conspiracy theories are no laughing matter. If you're worried that someone you know might be being indoctrinated or spreading misinformation themselves, you can report them to the state at our non-confidential portal here.
Non-confidential portal? Report them to the state? The beginning of that was like, oh, okay, that's good that they're... Oh. Oh, that's what we're doing. We're just rounding them up. Why, my android's so perfect, no one could tell the diff. A bullet to the heart's the only way he could kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion.
I see.
Stop seeing, start moving. These people are insane.
Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can be this cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on Harco crops? They're putting something in the food.
Those
It's turning
people.
the frickin' androids gay.
I mean, that's honestly right.
Those people. Heartbreak, this is...
A goddamn embarrassment. The hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down?
What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure?
They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced like any other murderer.
And they must have a reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious?
Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? Great point, Morgan. Great point, Morgan.
They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have...
Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And yet there is only one heartbreak.
So you think that they were just born that way?
Well, that's my guess.
That's
Unsatisfying?
kind of sad, honestly.
I don't see why it would be.
If heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else.
If heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people ever have to worry about turning out like them.
That kind of predestination means they will never have to take responsibility for what they are.
The state can make them take responsibility. As soon as they catch them.
You make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer.
They are just a serial killer.
Just?
If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months.
In order to have killed
413,789 people.
You did that in your head?
I'm good at mental math.
You counted the leap years, too. What is the significance of that number?
Those were the deaths within 18 months of the Blakeford industrial disaster. Times that number by 2 for the injuries. Tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead. And there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error. Some shoddy welding. And time.
So you think that heartbreak is nothing by comparison?
Uh-huh.
Perhaps that's the problem, then. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to.
Huh.
Critical support for serial murderers?
Is that where we're coming down? It feels, but also, I do feel like, again, don't misunderstand the point being made here, but, Morgan brings up a very valid point in, terms of, the scale of our empathy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 or 2 freak deaths and like a serial murder event. That's a tragedy. That's a terror. That is a sensational story. A bunch of people dying from an industrial accident, even an uncountable amount, is kind of just a statistic. People can't really like empathize that. Like you can feel bad and do feel bad, but we don't conceptualize it the same way, right?
Yep.
Like you just kind of read that number and your brain can't really figure out how to put that to like 400,000 faces or whatever. And you just kind of move on. You just kind of glaze over it.
The thing I don't buy is and there was nothing evil about it. Just some human error and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, okay, I think what she's saying is that, because like obviously if you go back to it, like I'm sure in the instance she brought up, there could indeed be evil, and like them cutting corners on in the production of the area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like by not using enough money up front, skimping and making those pain points much more viable in that case. There wasn't enough oversight. There wasn't enough looking, people maintaining or taking care of that stuff. But it's not evil in the sense that we could point to one person with warped intentions. It's evil in the sense that a lot of people just kind of doing their jobs all quietly nodded and checked off. And it's evil, but it feels different for some reason. Mainly because we can all kind of imagine ourselves being in that person, right? It's like, why is it my job to create a ruckus here? I just need to do this and go home. I don't know. Kind of fucked. We got a new term. Want to see it?
I would simply not contribute to an industrial disaster. I'm built different.
Yeah? Let me know how that works out for you.
Cyberpunk, a mythologized countercultural icon or way of being. Originally a term coined in a short science fiction story and later having grown into a genre all its own, cyberpunk or cyberpunk historically has referred to a counterculture centered around the themes of underdogs resisting powerful corporate or government forces through digital guerrilla warfare. While the genre has persisted to modern times and evolved in numerous waves, over the last 2 decades, it has taken on new meaning as a kind of mythologized way of being for the adolescent or disaffected to aspire to. A code of conduct that emphasizes anti-authoritarianism, community organizing, corporate disengagement, and socio-economic consciousness. The so-called singular cyberpunk has become a 21st century man without a name, a wanderer with their own rule of law. Cultural critic Simon Essentia summarized the appeal as thus: "There's no such thing as a 21st century hero. Is it any wonder the most vulnerable among us turn to the past for guidance?" Users also frequently searched for, "Get ready with me, cyberpunk." The 99 man explained, "Are co-ops illegal?"
Are co-ops illegal? All right, get your mirror shades and prep your icebreakers, console cowboys. I'm not a console cowboy, I'm a console cowpoke.
Blakeport disaster. We encountered an issue while processing your request. Congestion ahead. We're currently limiting traffic related to this particular search due to a large number of edits coming in from net addresses outside your country's borders. We're proud to fight alongside variable_user country in combating disinformation by foreign actors like those in variable_user adversary latest. You can read more about how and why this collaboration works here. Tired of running into slowdowns? So are we, but maintaining a secure data border takes resources. Contact your representative and explain why you think the national data security budget needs to be expanded using our Easy Right form here.
I see. Players make way. Officials coming through, please disperse.
Keep walking, pigs.
Fascists!
Noble owns the cops. Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick. Prove 'em wrong? You know what I mean. We're the only people in this city trying to do some goddamn good, and they all just... That's just part of our job, detective. No offense, ma'am, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more hate than... Do they give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open?
This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai.
Breaking out the thesaurus on me. I'm only being realistic and humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than 1% rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Wait, is that really what her justification is? Tragedy of the commons? Really? I kind of assumed.
Tragedy of commons is the opposite of that, though, right? That it does matter what individuals do?
Oh, I misunderstood what the label applies to then. But it gets at that same friction, right? Of like the contrast between the one person's actions in a large society versus, you know, what actually matters on that scale, right? The point she's making is that it barely matters because it's barely a rounding error compared to some of these other disasters, right? Maybe I've been using that term wrong. I should look that up.
Tragedy of the commons?
Yeah, I really should double check that because that's what I thought it meant.
It's when a bunch of folks individually, through using a common resource according to their own personal interests, end up using it in a way that makes it worse for everybody, according to our collective interests. So, for example, if we all share a field and we each go out to graze our sheep, and we graze as much as we like, and as a result overgraze it and the field dies and no one can graze their sheep and they all starve, instead of us all, you know, taking care of it, making sure that we plant it as well as graze on it, making sure that we, you know, rotate areas instead of just having sheep all over it all the time.
Right. Okay. So what I had associated with it was that kind of selfishness in using a public resource. In this case, the lives to be murdered. Morgan is hogging all of the lives to be murdered for herself. I think that's where I'm coming down on this. I should look up terms later.
Do you tell that to your clients?
No, but they come to appreciate it when I win.
I don't mean cops in particular. The same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, stares directly at camera. So, we traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizens lost. Very least we can do is take their criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged. But they treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong.
So if any given individual is too small to ever affect change,
So if the public's gonna hate us no matter what we do,
and if corporations and governments will trample over the people the same, regardless of their character,
and if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing,
what do you do, Adonai?
what the hell do we do?
I think it's pretty simple.
It's not as complicated as you'd think.
In times like these,
In a world like this,
the only logical way to live is
the only moral way to act is
do whatever it takes to win. If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice.
If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul.
Just fight with both barrels.
And trust the opposition to do the same.
Winner takes all. These two are perfect for one another.
I love them.
I love that for them. I like how Emma's like, yeah, the state power is not inherently a good thing. However, holding back on it isn't good. And therefore, holding back isn't going to change, isn't going to make things better.
Do you see it's also, it's not a very good argument when Morgan makes it, right? Is it a better argument when Emma does?
I don't think so. I think it's just a fancy way for them both to kind of justify what they already wanted to do.
Which is win at all costs.
Yeah.
It's just one of them is winning at murders and the other one is winning at prosecutions, and one of those has the color of law. So
and one of them doesn't. Yep. Remember, the state gets a monopoly on the violence, right? Thank you. You're a lifesaver. And next time that bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off, alright? Chatty guy. Must have been due to go on break. When he tried and failed to find the witness's medical record, his datapad had the name blacked out, but I did say that they have Caduceus Executive 3. More expensive than David's, which means they most likely...
How did you do that?
Huh? You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing.
That is not what I meant. Also, real-life elevators don't work like Metal Gear Solid. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly?
Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us.
Yeah, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words. So little information. I didn't even think you gave him your name.
Haven't you heard of the golden rule?
Of course I have. Ha ha ha. Treat others how you would want to be treated.
Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him. And he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help, given the chance.
Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult.
Yeah, that's like... When someone describes that as a thing people can just do and expects me to believe it, I'm like, that's magic. What you're describing is magic. You might as well say I cast a spell and this guy now does what I want him to.
How can you know another person how they want to be treated?
There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone is thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. It'll always be a gamble.
That is, not a very comforting sentiment.
Well, I think it's fun.
Only because you're good at it. How did you get good at it?
Same as anything. Observation and practice. Do we have any more? I don't think we have any terms currently. No. Okay, cool.
Must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So we proceed down this hall. Bear left. Look for the fourth door.
I'm gonna just open the one that says morgue on it. You know it's the right one because it says my name on it.
Hmm?
Oh, one of my favorite tropes. We get the mortician who is definitely not dressed for the job.
Oh, hey. Come on in. Don't stand out there in the cold. Wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner.
Didn't we hear that name earlier? I feel like we heard that name before. Birth date, March 3rd. Height, weight not given. O negative. Medical examiner. They like accessories, reality TV, palm reading. They dislike social media, dress codes, and ebooks. Yeah, I could have got that. You dislike ebooks. Yeah, paper books. Love to make new playlists. Hate to throw out old clothes. Most proud of my weekly meal prep. You know what? That's a good thing to be proud of. It's a hard thing to do. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. Though I didn't expect that I would get to, if I'm honest. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means...
Oh, you can just call me Yumi, and you're...
Morgan. I represent the deceased.
The deceased. Oh, the deceased. Assure D. Wait, really? That's weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who...
I know. Weird, right?
Well, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosting Megs anyway. I gotta finish up typing this report before...
We talk shop.
We talk shop, but in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home.
All right, I will do so. Thank you. Bunch of garbage bags. There's stuff to read, inspect. We like reading. Oh, man. What is this? The hospital is getting renamed. No, I guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up.
Hospital renamed to thank Icaria family. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Plotter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Icaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredibly generous donations over the last several years. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in a name change after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena.
So it's not just this hospital, it's a lot of places in the same area.
But it wasn't so long ago that the Icaria were better known for drawing blood than donating it. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime.
Wait, is this a Yakuza thing?
After the founding of Renagen Medical over 25 years ago and its subsequent sale, the Icaria have moved out of the business world and into the upper echelons of society that are sometimes mockingly referred to as the neo-bility, a generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st century and the Red Decade.
Red Decade?
What was that?
Is that maybe that thing that depleted war chests
Could
around
be.
the 2050s?
When asked her opinion on those who'd label her family House Icaria at the hospital's renaming ceremony, Renagen board member Mireille Icaria had this to say.
Oh, come on now.
In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves so long as they're willing to put in the work. Mock new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself, and the only ones uncomfortable with that are... We're working hard to print out the rest of your article, character by character. It's tough work, but we'd be able to go about it a lot faster if you'd leave a tip. Want to drop your payment info in the jar?
The Icaria. I guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves a new image.
New image.
See, that one was more cut and dry. I think that last one, well, no, I guess maybe we should have been able to reason that they didn't need PR.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't clear, like...
Even though they did, and everybody needs good PR.
I guess. I don't know. Let's take it up with the devs who are definitely listening to this playthrough. Hey, devs, I take exception to that one part of your otherwise fantastic game. Therefore, 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Oh, you know what?
Sadist?
Wow. You know what? No, I take it back. That's too far. All the neo-bility are eager to prop up their image wherever they can. But that must go double for the Icarias, assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. That's a lot of screens. There's got to be diminishing returns on productivity.
Why do you have so many monitors, man?
You can't just ask someone that. It's like asking their weight or their age.
Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything. And I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back, there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere and no one's ever corrected it. And so, boom, I get 4 new monitors every year.
Do you run other things to use them for?
Sometimes, but this year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing rote work, which helps.
Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do rote work?
Helps me use up the screens.
I see.
I love the idea of, like, we don't need budget. Wait, no. She doesn't need budget at all, but they're still giving... That's so... Personally, if you don't need budget, you should ask for things anyway. Because if you don't, then they'll get used to you not needing anything. And you don't... And if they get used to not needing anything, it'll be harder for you to get the budget when you actually do need things. I'm a very smart business person. Remember, the budgetary thing is zero sum.
Are all of these dead bodies?
One would hope so.
I meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. Suggest a backlog, or suggest a higher murder rate than public data would lead one to expect.
Do you only examine bodies for the police, Doctor?
Oh, I wish. No, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing. Mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal biobatteries, suspected CCIC.
CCIC?
Climate change-induced complications.
That's a medical term for death now? You could prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death?
Very, very rarely.
If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased?
Plus or minus 14% on the life insurance payout.
That's how much climate change is worth. Okay.
I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job. It's just... so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead man's bill. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air.
She finishing up she called it homicide, too. She finishing up over there.
Right, okay, so what's up?
Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be...
What was the cause of death?
Oh wow, hi there, cute android. I didn't even realize it was...
Huh?
really cute. The skin is... that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell they really are warm.
I really am cute. Thank you for noticing. Have you been thrown off by my charm? Yeah, I'm cute. And I know it.
Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way.
Oh, you touched me without me asking. Fucked up.
The early gens all looked flushed, felt like they were always running a fever, and they ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted...
Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for... expediency.
Right. So, what can I tell you?
Let's start with... the talk screen.
Yeah.
Police mentioned a talk screen.
Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a talk screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something. But the talk screen gave them nothing.
Did he just, choke?
Too much salt on the food, choked.
Did he literally just choke and die?
After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing.
So were you forced to conclude this was a natural death?
I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history. And I managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before.
What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere?
I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to, and even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound.
Oh, tits.
So a designer drug, then.
That seems to be the best explanation.
What the hell did you do, David?
You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered, huh? I'm very smart.
Those friends of yours, private sector folks?
Yeah, in pharmaceuticals.
One of them patented a new compound, a new drug. What would keep its formula from going on the record?
In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively.
Patent first, find a use later?
Yeah, a patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in. I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record.
Smart, using international IP law as your own personal minefield.
Oh, so?
Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formulae so no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anybody small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your trap card. Let them know you came up with the idea years ago, and that you'll give them a death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They could punch back, but for the rest of the field...
Wow, you corporate lawyers are scary.
I'm not a corporate lawyer.
So you came up with that strategy just now?
So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance? Something the hospital could have easily identified.
If it wasn't considered a trade secret.
Yes, unfortunately, that is a possibility.
I think he died by getting a lethal dose of the literal Coke formula. Not cocaine. I mean the proprietary Coca-Cola formula.
I mean, whatever it is, it does have an LD50. Did you know that Earl Grey tea will poison you if you drink too much of it?
No, but I kind of believe that.
It takes a lot. We figured out that bergamot had some sort of toxic compound in it in high doses because someone who did drink like a solid 4 liters a day
Oh,
of
Jesus,
Earl Grey
fuck.
tea.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Just only drank Earl Grey tea and drank huge amounts of it nonstop all the time and eventually got sick from it. And they had to switch to black tea that was
Wow.
not flavored, and then they were okay. So it was all good in the end.
Okay. I would have assumed you would have gotten like caffeine poisoning before that.
Yeah, you'd think so, but... A test performed on David Assure when he arrived at Gatesfield Memorial Hospital to determine what, if any, illicit substances were in his body. Alcohol was the only item positively identified at the time. Imagine the caffeine headaches, though, from going off 4 liters of tea to 0.
Right? Jesus, fuck.
Neobility, derogatory slang for nouveau riche families and their networks. Slang term for the nouveau riche, new money families that arose in the second half of the 21st century amid global economic turmoil. The name carries a negative connotation and is meant to criticize the way said families supposedly style themselves as nobility, or even as a second estate that administers global power alongside the first, governments, and third, corporations. Users also frequently searched for who are neobility families, how to marry into wealth, define nouveau.
Wait. The second estate was something else.
Was the second state not the nobility?
Oh, was it? Man.
Let's,
Oh, right, because the fourth estate is journalism,
yeah,
right?
the fourth estate was journalism.
Right, okay. That's what I was thinking of. Like, are they implying journalism died? No, okay. No.
So, the division wasn't originally quite that. Originally, first estate was clergy, second estate was nobility, and third estate was commoners.
I see.
And the king wasn't part of the estates at all.
Still, just because a drug is new doesn't mean it's original, right?
Does the effect this compound has remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only or a controlled substance? One you might know by another name, but with a patented structure.
Sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. Don't mix your downers.
Yeah, don't.
There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of places.
Huh.
If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Could you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body all told?
Not precisely, no, not without detailed knowledge on its half-life, but I'd guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams.
Is 20 milligrams a lot?
Not for a medicine. So this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless, then?
No, not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system.
Alright, well, let's ask about cause of death, then. Were you able to determine a cause of death?
Well, cause of death, sure, we got that much figured out at least.
Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring?
Dr. Assure died of respiratory failure.
Yeah, it's the whole... Yeah, he died because his brain stopped working. What, is that not what you were looking for?
Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system.
Uh-huh. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like?
Lightheadedness, followed by dizziness, then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally, respiratory arrest.
Right, okay, so there would have been indeed that period where it would have been, like, still there, but, like, slurring and...
Yeah.
Like, it would have been a gradual slowing down, not a sudden fall over in your seat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's fucked.
Report shows that EMTs tried intubation and resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation, but it was too late.
Oh. And you're certain of all of this?
Oh, well, most of it, sweetie.
Most of it.
Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle, and I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show...
He wasn't a viable candidate for modding.
That's interesting. slang for biomonitor. Biomonitor is a general use term for wearable technology or implanted mods that monitor or provide feedback on an individual's vital signs. Commonplace among the affluent as an additional layer of security, biome use is relatively rare among the middle class. Some sociologists and consumer trend analysts point to anxieties about the climate, pollution, and the stresses of modern life as to why adoption of biomonitors has met resistance with medium wage earners. If one's health is already assumed to be poor, constant knowledge of its status might be considered uncomfortable.
Right?
Biomonitors are also frequently employed by incarceration, probation, and workplace health initiative programs.
Employed by or forced on? Also, did we know this about David?
We didn't.
This is new. He wasn't a viable candidate for modding.
Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion.
Oh. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises?
No injection sites, nothing in any cavities.
Nothing at all, huh? Thank you, Yumi. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So, you ready to view the body?
Oh, shouldn't you take me out to dinner first?
David's autopsy. Lost consciousness at 8:03 p.m., declared dead at 8:25 p.m. in ICU, redacted presiding. Cause of death, respiratory failure. Unknown substance detected in bloodstream, approximately 20 milligrams total. The loud, curling handwriting at the bottom of the document reads, "What the hell is talk screen? Send attending physicians back to med school. Send apologies to attending physicians. These readings are a nightmare."
I like the first reaction is, this is so bad you must have done it wrong. Oh god, this is so bad. This is absolutely fucked. I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game.
We could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay then, let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy.
Yes, please. Thank you. The last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining. I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right? You'd ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. It came damaged, and you wanted to send it back for a refund. I gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. And I kindly offered to throw it out for you since you're having so much trouble letting it go. You're only offering because you don't want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one.
I thought that he would look different.
Huh?
But he looks exactly the same as I remember. Skin is pale, and he is very still. But his face is the same. His hair and his hands.
You were expecting something more drastic.
The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled and he told me he would see me soon. And now he is dead. Something is gone. And I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder, but I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. Why I was created to not be capable.
Huh. That's nice, dearie. Would you like a cherry Coke? Sarah having this profoundly upsetting moment, and Morgan being like, uh-huh. Could be an issue of skill.
Skill issue.
Skill issue, kid. Get dunked on. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it is there. I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least.
You're gonna smoke in here? Now?
I'll pay the fine.
That's not the issue.
Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio.
And some don't grieve at all, it seems.
I am a cold woman. I'm sorry to disappoint. I don't know. I think taking out the cigarette as a habitual thing and leaning on the nicotine in this moment is kind of a way of grieving.
Yeah.
Or at least dealing with those feelings still. And also, we did see her have moments of grief kind of privately. The hell? Why the hell won't this thing light?
I don't know. You have your cigarette backwards.
He is absolutely grieving.
Right?
He's
right?
barely holding it together.
Barely holding it together.
Insists, no, I'm cold. I don't have feelings.
Your cigarette is backwards, you dump.
All right, that's back into cold storage for him. So, need anything else?
Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated?
Sure, for what it's worth. Let me just...
It's got a carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, with hexagonal structures. That one's clearly a pentagon. So it's organic, but there's a number of metallic elements too. And if you had to speculate on its intended use, based on what we know of its structure?
Well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake.
Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene.
True, people are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much need to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience.
No, there is not. I see.
An unidentified substance found in the bloodstream of David Ashore after his death. Has many similarities to the chemical makeup of a depressant drug. No additional traces found anywhere at the crime scene or in David's penthouse.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards... maybe... The idea I'm rolling around in my head is that you could get him to ingest something earlier on, something that you would react with like a well-known whiskey he has love for. Someone would come over, request they open a bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he had to go downstairs to get it rather than pulling it from the fridge, because it was specifically requested. And then that has a reaction. It's designed specifically to have a reaction with that particular whiskey, and since it's already in his system...
Doesn't even need to be designed to react with a particular whiskey. It's a CNS depressant. CNS depressants react with CNS depressants. They react by making you dead.
Yeah, okay. What I'm saying is that... yeah.
So I think, which is to say, I think your theory makes sense. I think it's even easier.
I see. Thank you again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time.
Hey, anything you need, give me a ring.
That's very
Rockford's orders have got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend.
I am so glad to hear it.
Goodbye, Yumi.
And goodbye to you, Greenie.
My name is Sarah.
Nice to meet you, Sarah.
You don't waste a character design like that on someone who's not going to be recurring, right? Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines. The buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory. National headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Lock Coon, Tethys, Nithe. Each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscraper shadows. Yep, that's what we know about how they work. Whale Fall. The entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off of the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful.
Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that?
Oh, she's filling out the form. Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Sarah. Answers I would never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative.
Synopsis. Relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there?
Noble will have their guard up, of course. But even that will tell me something, where they let me walk, who they let me talk to.
History.
Their efforts will be at performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation, Will.
How did you know my father?
What? Sorry, I was monologuing. What's up? What?
I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding?
No, what did you ask?
My father, I know you were his friend. What was your relationship like?
Can't you just scroll through our socials?
Father avoided social media, and your online presence is, not significant.
You saying I don't have enough followers?
Essentially.
We went to the same college.
You study programming?
No. I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology.
Is that a good way to prepare for law school?
I don't know, I heard this other guy got an art degree. I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though, he had talent and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics.
What classes did you share then?
Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he
Was the first?
was the one who asked the most questions. Not sure about his actual ranking, though. Upset Sarah! I love that. We need more sprites of characters being upset or flustered. That is what I'm coming down on here.
Yep.
He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. I guess he felt burned. He'd come up to me after class to argue and sometimes ask for help.
Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It's kind of you to give him a chance.
What, like I was some kind of social butterfly? The belle of the ball?
You weren't?
One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for this tech course. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though, wanted to cram the rest of the night.
Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm?
I kind of like this depiction of David, where he's like, he's not some monolith, right? He's not some larger-than-life polymath who can, like, seemingly effortlessly move through anything. He's an undergrad student who needs to cram real bad.
Yep.
Not to say he doesn't have talent or genius or whatever, just, you know, he still has things he's just like, oh god, oh god. Did I say something scandalous?
He's been called the founder of modern programming.
Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fired by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what they were really asking for. Oh, fried, sorry. So I went and stole a study aid for him.
You stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying?
No, that would be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast because the taste is so strong.
You gave him a placebo.
Ha! He already knew the content was as good as he ever... Sorry. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. Didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in.
And the test?
B+, I think.
I'm surprised that father stayed close with you after that. You stole and you lied to him.
I stole and lied for him.
And also to him. But
And
for
David
him.
understood that distinction. Prepositions are important, I think. Why can't we do both? Huh? What's wrong with that? He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess it's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published this paper.
The Turing Solution. A framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics.
One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but...
But it still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the years since. Ha ha!
Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate.
What did you tell him?
I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. And at the end of the conversation, he would thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night, and whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early.
You're referring to his one-point doctrine.
Quality over quantity.
Simple and elegant, just like his code. Ha ha!
Simple and elegant, but anathema to global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously, they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. That is a frightening concept. Even as he was making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. Apprenticeship as a lawyer, right? He helped me put down a down payment on my apartment, then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were, in fact, friends?
I am. But odds on the favor you owe him. What was it for?
That is private. Do you understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand.
I understand, Adonai. We'll be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead?
Just tell them that David's lawyer is here.
Is it that David figured out she was the heartbreak killer or something?
Maybe? Well, it's not, remember, heartbreak is not her overarching thing.
Yeah.
Heartbreak was the name given to her last 6 murders, right?
Yep.
She has made a point of trying to to murder people in ways that are unrecognizable, and it's only these last couple that were collated into a serial killer narrative and given a name.
Yep.
So it might be that maybe he figured out she was murdering people.
Yeah.
What would you say if I was murdering people? What would you say? Would you support me in my hobbies?
I think I would probably say something like this. Ah!
Wow. So when the going gets rough, I can't count on your support? Is that what I'm hearing? Do you want to do one more scene or keep this episode here?
Let's keep it here.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out, everyone. I'm enjoying this game so much. I'm glad we're in this. God, I like playing mystery games with you.
Yeah.
It's so fun to kind of like delve into the world, try to understand what we're being shown and keep up with things and try to like, either, if not head it off at the pass, at least come up with a solution, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see you all next time for more of The Devil. Bye now.
Peace.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.